Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how to make an individual's control chart or an eye chart and a moving range chart on the gas use data. Recall an individual's control chart is a mechanism, a tool to check the stability of a process, the mean level, and we can use the moving range chart to check the short-term variability of a process. So I'll start off by creating a column of moving ranges. Let's call the column in D moving range. I'll abbreviate it a bit. Now, moving range, we don't have a moving range for the first observation, so we move to the second cell in this column and we say equal ABS. Take the second gas use value minus the first gas use value, parentheses, and there's our moving range for the from day 1 to day 2. The gas went down by 1.1 units. However, we look at this in absolute terms. Again, there's the formula I used, absolute value of the difference between the two cells. Double click the lower right corner and I've got the moving ranges for the entire column now. I'm going to create another column. This column will be the upper control limit for the eye chart, and we'll have the center line for the eye chart and the lower control limit for the eye chart. Okay, now the center line is the average of the gas use data. So at the bottom here, I'll just type equal average, parentheses, highlight the data, and the average is 5.1. I'll show this to one more decimal place, 5.05. Let's copy this formula over for the moving ranges. So that's convenient. The average moving range is 1 unit on the gas use scale. In other words, 100 cubic feet is the typical day-to-day change in gas use. Okay, now we'll use the center line here, 5.05, and that'll be create a column of constant values at 5.05 when I make my chart. The upper control limit is equal to the center line plus 2.66 times the average moving range, which we saw was 1.00. Okay, I can drag that formula down. And then the lower control limit is the center line minus 2.66 times the average moving range of 1.00. And copy that down. Okay, we're ready to make the eye chart. You may be wondering where that 2.66 is coming from. It's just a factor that's used to estimate 3 standard deviations above and below the center line, so that we can have, approximately all the values of the gas use data would be within the control limits if the process was a stable process. Only common causes acting on the system. So I'll highlight the day index value, the gas use data, and then press Shift Control down arrow key. I want to skip over this column of moving ranges and then highlight these last 3 columns over here. Press on the Control key and you can highlight from the bottom up. Okay, we'll go Insert, Scatter, Connect the Points, and there's our eye chart. However, it needs some editing. So I'll get rid of the grid lines here. Click on them once, hit the delete key. Let's change the scale on the x-axis, my day index. Right click on it, format axis. And let's start at 0, we'll end at 30, go up by 5. If you wanted to, you could go up by 7s to indicate the 7 days of the week, but we'll go up by 5s here. Now the data ranges from, let's see, the lower control limit is about at 2, a little higher, and we do have a point out of control here. We'll go from 2 to 9. Right click on the y-axis format, start at 2, end at 9 by increments of 1. Let's change the number to no decimal places. Okay, it's looking good. We should rename these series. Right click anywhere on the graph, select data, and then here we have series 1. That happens to be the original series. Let's just call it gas use. And then series 2 is the upper control limit. I'll say UCL. Series 3 is the center line. I'll just call that CL. And then series 4 is the lower control limit. Okay, so that's good. Now we may want to clean this up a little bit more. Let's add axis titles here. Click on the graph once, go to Layout, Axis Titles, Horizontal, Day Index. Day of the week index, or day index. It's my time index. And we have gas use in hundreds of cubic feet on the y-axis. Okay, a little bit more maybe. Let's right click on the actual series, Format Data Series, Marker Options built in. Let's make it circles, lower the size a little bit. Marker fill, solid black. Line color, solid black. Line style, let's make it a little bit thinner. Marker line color, solid black. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then for the upper and lower control limits, maybe we want to make those the same color and get rid of the marker points. Right click on it, Format Data Series, Marker Options, None, Line Color, Solid Line. Let's make this red. Line Style, let's get rid of the thickness of it a bit. That's good. Do the same thing for the lower control limit. Right click, Format Data Series, Marker Options, None, Line Color, Solid. Let's make it red. Line style, a little bit thinner. And then for the center line, right click, Format Data Series, Marker Options, None, Line Color, Solid. Let's make this gray. Line style, a little bit thinner. Okay. It's better. Okay, and we should probably have a title. Chart title above the chart. Individuals control chart for the gas use data. Okay, title's too big. Let's shrink it. Go to the Home tab. Maybe size 12 is better. And a little bit more. I'll put a boundary around this plot area. Format plot area. Border color solid. Medium gray is good. And then the outside boundary on this chart I'll get rid of. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I see that this process is out of control because, well, we would consider it to be out of control as there is an abnormally large value outside the control limits on day 4 here. And there may be other violations according to the Western Electric Zone tests, probably right here. We could draw in more lines for 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations from the center line so that we could check the Western Electric Zone test, but it's unnecessary because we already know we believe the process is out of control. Which makes sense, again, because this was data starting at the end of January going through the end of February. Spring should be approaching, so there should be a downward trend in the gas use because of less heating of the house as it gets warmer. Okay, I'm going to end here and do the next video of the moving range chart in a separate video.